How do you think is gonna? What do you think is gonna happen when he's gone? You think that in 4 years we're gonna have a worse Trump that we're gonna have to deal with that may really have a high probability of getting elected, or do you think
I
Trump is gonna come
really
back?
need 2 years. Tell
Yeah.
me, ask me in 2 years like that. I
Yeah.
need some time just to see
Yeah.
what happens because, like, I this seeing this insurrection kind of felt like a snapping point, and I
Yeah.
don't think that they're gonna be able to drag the the center right into their pit. There's just a lot of people who are already far right, and they were already in that camp, and they were able to this the center right of the political stream were able to like play both roles,
Mm.
and they got lost in that somewhere between the Tea Party and Trump. They just completely lost themselves, and they're like, well, we're all the same now, right? And then they realize, oh shit, some of these people are out of their minds. Some of these people are actually just crazy.
Yeah.
Well, we can, and then there's people like Ted Cruz
Yeah.
who knows he knows that those people are a little crazy, and he's feeding off of it, and that's gross. That's the stuff that's really
I
gross.
have a little bit of hope only for one thing that they were saying that MSNBC recently. I was watching Kyle Kalinske, I think it was. He was they were he was showing how MSNBC was actually doing Bernie type of talking points, like like really far, not far left, but relatively left wing talking points, which kind of shocked me to hear them. They're like, yeah, this, that, and whatever, money, money. And I was like, okay, that's a positive. That means, like, I'm sure they're not 100% on the democratic socialist side of things, but it's nice to see that, like, occasionally they'll pull that out and kind of say something positive about it, which gives me a little bit of hope that maybe if things become super popular enough, that because that's what it is. That I've noticed with Democrats, they're a bunch of in a lot of cases. I'm not saying Democrats in a whole, but like the establishment Democrats, they tend to jump on the bandwagon a lot, as well as the media when they see something that becomes really really popular. You know what I mean? They're like, oh well, I was down with that too. I was like, yeah, all right, but it's
They're
cool.
sycophants.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's cool, but if that happens enough, hopefully that'll mean, you know, policies will be acknowledged and maybe we'll get something out of it at some point down the line. I just care about my son's future. I know eventually I'm going to pass away. I want my son to have the opportunities that I didn't have. I think in some cases he does with the technology that exists, but also technology also takes away a lot of opportunities out there because it seems to you know, like for instance, like with graphic design work, you could go to some of these websites and buy templates instead of going to actual graphic design people and design something yourself. It's you have to adapt.
But the thing is that I think there's a lot of specialty in that in each field.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
think that some of the times that we live in a gray area, that like right now we live in a gray area
Yep.
because we're stuck at home. We're not seeing. But I know, like, I have a, you can't see it right here, but like I have somebody's a dragon that somebody drew. Mini
Mm.
Morpho. Shout out to Mini Morpho.
Nice.
That's a Twitch person. So I always respect seeing somebody else do graphic art. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's just something about it. And same thing with music. Like, I can't wait to actually be able to go to a concert. All of that stuff is so important to me. So I think that it's easy to feel that way with so much out there. I feel like sometimes it feels like there's a templates for everything because there's so much stuff out there.
Yep. Yep.
And
A lot
like
of
there's so
noise.
much stuff
Yeah.
that you're digesting.
There's
By the way,
definitely
thank you for
top.
Cabell for
Right.
joining. Thank you for Cabell for joining. Love you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wow. So like I was saying, like you were saying, like there are definitely top tier people that hopefully will soon be bringing to the show that I could show some of the people that I feel are very talented artists and talented people in general, um, or people that have like something about them that makes them special. There is definitely out there. I'm not gonna say it, but like I said, the reason why there is so much noise is because we were talking about how, like with the templates and everything else, like that it's easy to replicate certain things. You can't replicate talent. You know what I mean? Like real good talent.
Hmm.
It's that's definitely true. You know, and I don't want to discredit that. So yeah, definitely like yeah, I agree with you with that.
Support your local friends, support your local everything. I mean, that sometimes local doesn't necessarily mean right next to you. It means like people that you meet online, unfortunately, that are your friends. And I say unfortunately because I think that you say this in the COVID times where you have to try to branch out wherever you can. So find your family and just support them when you can.
I think that as long as people in this rough time try to like reinvent themselves, like that's the key thing. Whoever's out there listening to me, if you you know, I know you don't have to take me seriously. Try to reinvent yourself. Try to adapt to this. Try not to give up. You know what I mean? Because before you know it, it'll be done and over with. Hopefully, it'll be done and over with. I don't want to predict like the future because I can't. But I feel like if it is becomes to that point where it's done and over with, what are you going to do if you wasted all this time and you're still at that same place that you were when it started? You know, you might as well take this time to do something to make yourself better. Go out there and help those people that you care about around you. And, reinvent yourself, man. Like, that's the key thing. Like, find maybe if you have time for
Just
your hobby, to go ahead. Go ahead.
no,
I'm
I was
sorry.
just wondering if you have seen a bunch of people that you know getting the vaccine, because I actually have. I'm
My
not sure if that's
sister
just
got
because
it.
I
My,
yeah.
my sister got it because she's in nursing. And so she seems normal. I mean, she's my sister, so I always think she's a little like, something, something. But but I love her, and but she seems normal,
Not
and
walk
so
backwards or anything yet.
yeah, yeah, yeah. She's not, losing her mind any more than she already does. But, but I love her to death. I love my sister. I think she thinks the same way about me. So
Where's the bigger question? Are you willing to get the vaccine?
Yes. But I know that I kind of need to get back to work. Um, to I'm
it's
still
it.
gonna be wearing a mask. I'll still be doing all of that. But the thing is that there's a mixture of like my dad has type 2 diabetes. My mom both actually have high blood pressure and stuff like that. So there's kind of like a pre-existing condition kind of center in my family, and I want to see them again. I would like to go do stuff. I'd like to go out there. And my job usually involves a lot of going out there and working and like working in different environments. So yeah, I'm willing to, but unfortunately, I'm not. I'm pretty far down the list.
They said, what is it? One of the senators, I think, caught COVID, but he had gotten the vaccine, right? Like I heard something about one of
I
those
think you
senators.
got the first dose because you have to kind of get two doses. You have to get
Mhm.
the. I think that's the one I read. There might be, there's
Yeah.
going to be. Uh, I think it's only 93% effective.
Mhm.
So yes, that means 7% of people in a sample group are going to get it.
But what do you know? And it's possible he got. I don't know when he got the shot either. Like that's the thing about
Yes.
media. They sit there and they're like, well, he caught COVID, but like, did he get the shot after he got COVID? And maybe it took a while for them to acknowledge the fact that he had COVID, or like it. I don't know, man. That whole
It's difficult to
situation,
tell. Yeah,
and
it's
it
very
sucks
difficult to
because
tell.
it makes me.
I know that if you get COVID, you can't get the vaccine for about 2 weeks or 3 weeks afterwards. You have to confirm that it's out of your system, or it's not at a high dose in your system.
It sucks because I used to drink those. Those are delicious. But anyways, was I gonna say with the with the COVID stuff? It's crazy how they discredit things. Though these people in the media and on Facebook and wherever else, they hear these stories. Oh well, does it really work then? Or and, oh maybe I shouldn't get it. Or like I I I miss the days where I feel like I mean, we were manipulated back then, I guess, right? Like they said
Yeah,
certain things
I was
were
gonna say.
so
That's
so
exactly
so
what I
we
was
were
gonna say.
manipulated, but at least I felt like it wasn't like so obvious. Now it's like everything's a manipulation. Watch out, da da da. The government this, and so I'm like, oh man, come on, give me an effing break, man. So now what do I
But
do?
you live you live in a very meta society. Like there's something about the internet that just changed everything. You
Yep.
have such a feeling of what is produced, what is being made for you, what is made to manipulate you. It's in everything that you do. Everything that's funny has a reference to something that is like in reality, like it kind
Yep.
of pinpoints you.
Yep.
So I think that's what it is. Like you can't unsee it, and it's good, but it leads to people watching Newsmax and OAN. It
Yeah.
leads to people like not being able. I can't watch MSNBC. I can't watch CNN. I can watch maybe News 12, which is our local news station, for a couple minutes. But I honestly, there's just something about that style of talking on the news and letting you go to get to the next, that it just doesn't work anymore.
And the
And
weather is the
Yeah,
weather
I
today is
mean,
going to be.
we've seen the man behind the curtain, but they got a bigger curtain
yeah,
now.
yeah.
So we're still screwed. So it doesn't matter.
And it's not like it's not important. It's like, I have to say, news journalism is probably not, as TV journalism, even internet journalism, like we're doing right now, is not as important as going to your local stations. AP News is important. Your local paper is important. Even your local news station is important because they're talking about stories that are happening each day, and they have to go into it and go every day and find all of these things that are happening. um, but it also feels like fluff. Sometimes it just will feel like fluff, and
Yeah.
I in some ways I think we have to accept it. I think that's I think you've watched Parks and Rec, and yeah, Parks and Rec is a pretty good example of it. Like some of it is just like getting through the news week. That's all you're doing.
Yeah. Yep. 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 So
So how do you feel? Do you want to move on to greenhouse gases, or do you want to just do our Illinois ends cash bail?
I mean, it's like I guess we could do both because they're kind of both kind of good things, right?
Okay.
Like, I mean, we could talk real quick about both of them. It's not a big problem. You want me to
Yeah.
cut to you or
Let's, no, no, there's nothing here for.
no?
So
That's really